We now go on to our final race before the 1 hour lunch break, and it is DD2. Here is your grid. Starting on the front row will be the 4:33 of Florian Breitenbach on pole position, and alongside will be the 4:07 of Max Fleischmann. Hannes Border in the 4:68 and Jonas Wolscheid in the 4:20 complete the top 2 rows, with Niklas Krenz and Yannick Jacobs completing the top 3 rows. Ronny Göttler in the 4:99, Janis Stier in the 444, Marcel Steinert in the 4:13 and Oliver Breitenbach in the 4:22 complete the top 10. Rounding out the 15-strong order will be Mark Bartels in the 4:88, Maximilian Dombos in the 4:14, Tim Stender in the 4:09 with Francisco Blum and Dennis Thiem, who's been demoted to the back of the grid, having been excluded post-qualification. "14 minutes on the clock as we've got someone having technical dramas, I think, breaking down, and that is the 4:22 of Oliver Breitenbach, who's come out of the right-hander off of the right-hand kink going into the infield. So Oliver Breitenbach would have been starting on row number 5 on the outside, and looks to be that cart is not going to be taking any participation in this race. Good to see our great marshalling crew actually getting everything out of the way, ready for the racing to start. Red lights on the starting gantry for one final time before the lunch break. 14 minutes on the clock. Set to start ticking down the minute we get a clean start underway. So will be Florian Breitenbach with Max Fleischmann alongside on the front row. They'll be the ones controlling the rolling start pace as we now head towards the final right-hand corner. The anticipation starts to build. They come around the final corner. They should now be starting to split through into the tram lines. Revs rise. Clean start, we're off and away and racing. As now Jonas Wolscheid trying to go through up the inside of Max Fleischmann, who in turn goes up the inside of Florian Breitenbach for the lead. But then Jonas Wolscheid gets through. Fleischmann down into third initially as Hannes Border gets up into second, but then Fleischmann gets back through into second position. Now up into third place is the 4:33 of Oliver, is the 4:33. And that would have been of Florian Breitenbach, who started on pole position. So they come round to complete the first lap, going through the double right-hander. Lap 1 now done. Wolscheid leads. Fleischmann second. Florian Breitenbach in third place. Hannes Border rounds out the top 4. Then it's the 4:11 of Yannick Jacobs completing the top 5. Marcel Steinert, Ronny Göttler, Mark Bartels, Niklas Krenz and Janis Stier now complete the top 10. Wolscheid had an initial advantage completing lap 1 by just over 4.5 tenths of a second ahead of Max Fleischmann. But then Florian Breitenbach looking to use the pace that we saw the 4:33 use yesterday to try and close up and then pass. So now the battle for second really rages on as Wolscheid continues to lead on lap 2. Fastest lap of the race goes to Florian Breitenbach, who nearly goes up the inside of Max Fleischmann as they go into turn 2 and 3. Now into the main infield, heads the field. Looks like Janis Stier has got past Mark Bartels for 9th position. Top 4 starting to concertina at the front of the field, with Wolscheid leading, Fleischmann second, Florian Breitenbach in third place, with Hannes Border closing quickly on the back bumper of the 4:33. As the remainder of the field now has successfully negotiated their way through the final chicane. But the top 4, very, very close. gap between Volscheid and Fleischmann as they cross the line was nigh on 1/10 of a second as Fleischmann goes for the lead up the inside. Gets the move done nicely and cleanly. Volscheid goes back into the toe. Breitenbach and Bode ran out the top 4 positions still. Then it's Jacobs, Steinert, Göttler, Krenz, Stier and Bartels. They complete the top 10 with Dennis Thiem up to 11th. Dombos in 12th, Stender and Franziska Blum rounding out the 14. So all competitors, apart from the unfortunate retirement of Oliver Breitenbach on the formation lap, still circulating. So Dennis Thiem has set the fastest lap of the race with a 50.701. Yannick Jacobs now starting to close on the top 4. As now Florian Breitenbach looks to try to go towards the inside of Jonas Volscheid. Up the inside goes to 4:33 for second position. But now Volscheid on the back bumper of the Nies Racing driver heading into the next corner. Breitenbach goes defensive. That allows Hannes Bode to close up, and now Yannick Jacobs getting closer and closer, and was actually just over a 10th and a half quicker than Hannes Bode on that last lap. So top 5 now starting to concertina, starting to close together. Dennis Thiem now up into 10th position, having got past Mark Bartels. 9 minutes and 45 still to go on the clock, plus an additional lap. Breitenbach swings to the inside of Max Fleischmann to now take the lead, having initially started from pole position. Fleischmann still right up towards the back bumper, trying to look at an opportunity to get past. Volscheid not too far behind, neither is Bode. Jacobs trying to close up as Bode gets very close to the back bumper of Jonas Volscheid for 3rd position. So Breitenbach continues now to lead the field, has about a 4 kart length advantage over Max Fleischmann as they now head towards the right hand corner that brings them onto the start finish straight. We now go to complete lap number 6. As Breitenbach has a lead of nearly 0.3 of a second over Max Fleischmann. Jonas Volscheid in 3rd. Hannes Bode, Yannick Jacobs ran out the top 5 ahead of Ronny Göttler, who has closed really, really quickly indeed and has just put in a personal best of a 50.611. So Göttler has shown some considerable pace on the 4:99 entry, but has also had a fair share of dramas along with that. So the top 6 last time around were covered by just under 1.1 seconds. In 7th position is the 4:31 of Niklas Krenz, who last time around did a 51.015 and was 8.5 tenths away from 6th position. Volscheid being pressurised by Bode, who now tries to go up the inside of the Paralin Germany driver and gets through for 3rd. Göttler now latches onto the back of the train. Niklas Krenz not too far behind. Neither is Dennis Thiem. Janis Stier now down into 10th position as a result of Dennis Thiem getting past for 9th. As now Volscheid trying to look to get an overtaking opportunity on Hannes Bode, who now sits in 3rd. And out of the top 5 drivers, the quickest of which was Hannes Bode in the 4:68 with the 50.578. 20 seconds away from hitting half time on the countdown clock. Breitenbach leads. Fleischmann 2nd. Bode, Volscheid, Jacobs, Göttler. That's the top 6. And Breitenbach was the quickest of all, a 50.594 from the 4:33. So Niklas Krenz was slightly slower on that last lap behind Ronny Göttler, as now the drivers still trying to keep on level terms with each other in the top 6. and looks to have a little bit more of a lead this time around. It was 0.290 between Breidenbach and Fleischmann. They crossed the line to complete lap 9. Gap now 0.377. So the gap seems to be slightly extending in the favour of Florian Breitenbach, with Maxi Fleischmann in second place. But keep your eyes on the likes of Hannes Border, Jonas Wolscheid, Yannick Jacobs, Ronny Göttler. So these drivers are very, very tightly packed and making sure that they keep the other drivers in their line of sight. But the biggest person that's going to have to keep looking over their right shoulder or left shoulder is Florian Breitenbach, who continues to lead. We're about to hit double figures on the lap count, as we are now at 5 minutes and 35 seconds to go, plus an additional lap. Florian Breitenbach now looks to have extended that gap slightly to Max Fleischmann, who's now being pressurised by Hannes Border. Gap now nearly half a second, as up the inside of Yannick Jacobs goes Ronny Göttler, fifth place. As Göttler was over half a tenth of a second quicker than the driver that he's just passed, Yannick Jacobs in the 411. So change for fifth, but Niklas Krenz is trying to close and is bringing along Dennis Thiem in the 404. So the top 8 drivers, with just under 5 minutes remaining, could be even closer. It's nearly 2.2 seconds from Florian Breitenbach to Dennis Thiem on that last lap alone. And depending on the pace that's being picked up by the likes of Niklas Krenz and Dennis Thiem, as Thiem now goes towards the inside of Niklas Krenz for position, thinks better of it, slots back in to 8th place. 2.140 seconds separate the top 8 positions. As then behind, Jana Stier is battling away with Marcel Steinert and Mark Bartels, and that is for 9th position on the road. But Jana Stier loses out to Marcel Steinert, going through the corners that come back onto itself for another straightaway towards the back part of the circuit to Marcel Steinert, who now is back up into what is effectively 9th position. But then 2nd to 5th place, looking incredibly close. Last time around, I would count that's probably going to be just over a second between the 4 of them. There's now a move up the inside, as that was Hannes Border, now taking the time to get past Max Fleischmann. Fleischmann now trying to counter-attack into the very next corner, looks to get towards the inside and goes back up the inside, that and then lets the door open by running wide. Hannes Border gets through. Ronny Göttler trying to get past and goes side by side with Jonas Wolscheid, and Yannick Jacobs nearly made it 3 abreast, but then Wolscheid loses out big time and drops down into 8th position as they came into the chicane. So we've got just over 3 minutes to go. So Hannes Border now battling away with Max Fleischmann. So Fleischmann up into 2nd position. Border just behind. Ronny Göttler now closing. As then Jonas Wolscheid was looking up the inside of Dennis Thiem for 7th place. Fleischmann still fending off Hannes Border for 2nd position. Ronny Göttler now looking to carry the momentum forward and to try and go for it. See if there's a top 3 position in the offing. So the leader comes across the start-finish line and has a gap of 1.7 seconds. Hannes Border went defensive on Ronny Göttler heading into turn 2. Then Göttler trying to close up on the back of this 468, looks to go up the inside, gets through, doesn't run wide and doesn't allow Hannes Border to get through. Yannick Jacobs still keeping within striking distance in 5th position. And then just behind Niklas Krenz is ahead of Jonas Wolscheid, with Dennis Thiem now just behind the 420. Lap number 15 completed. 1 minute and 15 seconds on the clock still to go, plus an additional lap. Weidenbach still leading by 1.861 seconds. Fleischmann still holding on to third at the moment. Ronnie Göttler in the 499 now up into P3. Hannes Border fourth. Yannick Jacobs in fifth place. Niklas Krenz in the 431 from 42 competition loses out to Jonas Volscheid. So Volscheid now back up into sixth position. The 404 as now Niklas Krenz returns the favour. Dennis Thiem looked for an opportunity to get past the 420, who still stays in seventh position. And then the battle for just behind them, ninth position, is being contested by Marcel Steinert, Jana Stier and Mark Bartels. So now Ronnie Göttler gets really close to the back bumper of Max Fleischmann and gets up the inside of the 407 from FM Racing up into second position. We now have 15 seconds on the clock to go. And when that expires, which will probably be when Florian Breitenbach gets back up towards the other part of the circuit, the timer will expire. Through to the chicane goes Breitenbach. Time has expired. Next time it will be the last lap board as Volscheid gets back past Niklas Krenz up into sixth position. Oh, there's been contact between Volscheid and Krenz. And they were battling away for position there, so both of them rejoin. And there is a little bit of debris just on the outside of the circuit as a result of that clash. But Florian Breitenbach now goes on to the 18th and final lap. Second position looks to be in the hands of Ronnie Göttler. As now, in third position, it's not Max Fleischmann, it's Hannes Border. So Fleischmann down into fourth place. Yannick Jacobs still sitting in fifth position. Sixth place, it is the 404 of Dennis Thiem with Marcel Steinert, Jana Stier and Mark Bartels rounding out the top 9 positions. So checkered flag will now be prepared as through into the final right-hand corner to come across the start-finish line to win the first DD2 race of the day. Florian Breitenbach from Nies Racing takes the win. Second is Ronnie Göttler. 2.428 seconds adrift. Hannes Border takes third. Max Fleischmann takes fourth position ahead of Yannick Jacobs, who rounds out the top 5, who were all covered by just over 3.1 seconds. Dennis Thiem takes sixth at the end of that ahead of Marcel Steinert with Jana Stier completing the top 8 places. Mark Bartels and Maximilian Dombos rounds out the top 10 with Tim Stender in 11th. Francisco Blum will cross the line to finish 12th with a last lap clash between Niklas Krenz and Jonas Volscheid towards the back part of the circuit. Pretty much eliminated them from finishing the race, with Oliver Breitenbach not even making the start.